The following is a special presentation of Tony Kurre Radio.
Yeah, there's a reason why we call ourselves K4Wins, because when we did 4K wins, it just kind of got confusing. Then if we were missing somebody, then it would be 3K wins, and we couldn't do 3K. No, you know what I'm talking about. Kip is going to continue to try to get on. Keefer, Executive Director, and of course, Chief Editor of the Las Vegas Sun. Below me, to my left, stage right, is Gregory. He does everything that is handicapping. He's been doing his entire life. He knows both sides of the story. The Ledger, and I'm Tony Kurre, of course, worked at ESPN Sports Radio for the last 30 years. We're going to get after it here on K4Wins, K4Wins.com, K4Wins.com. Before we get into professional football, we're going to start with pro football because, of course, our next big game in college is coming up on Monday night, Miami and Indiana. Some big line movements on that. But, Kai, how are our numbers? How are we doing? I know a lot of people, this is the time of the season when people start dropping a little bit more than they normally would because the games have gotten bigger, which is stupid, but it's just the way it is. So the bigger the game, the more the bet, and that's just how it is. I will tell you this, that whenever I've got $25 on a game and then I've got $1,000 on a game, for some reason it still hurts, even if I lose either one of them. It's like, oh yeah, I only had $25 in that game, but it still hurts like hell. But how are our numbers doing, man? What's going on?
I don't like to lose $25, much less $100. But
I hear you.
I mean, we started off a little bit slower this year than the numbers are. Of course, historically 5-3 yesterday. Last week 26-24. So you're really basically break even. Year to date 51-43, 51-43-1, and last month 118-77. All time 1,654 wins, 976 losses, 62.88%. So we're still, above that 60% where we want to be. And Case can tell you, it's very, very difficult when you're handicapping to pick anything, better, in my opinion, than about 58%. And 58%, if you're managing your bankroll the right way, you should be winning.
And there's no doubt. The best way to tell people is, say you have to, the number's like 56%. I know it could be a little higher or lower depending on what your juice is. But say you need to hit 56 out of your 100 bets, right? You need to go 56 and 44 in order to make a dime. Say that particular first 100, you actually flip and you go 44 and 56. That means you need to go 68 and 32 on your next 100 just to break even. So that should just tell you how difficult this is. And that's why it's so important to be consistent. This is not a fly-by-night thing. If you're looking for penny stocks, go somewhere else. Go get your free pick if they don't miss or to hit in the next 3 or 4 weeks. And you get all their free plays, blah, 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 blah. We're consistency is best. And we've got a handicapper right below us who does this for a living. So I'm going to go with Case Keefer all day, every day. Speaking of the devil, Case, there are 3 teams in the National Football League that are 12-5 against the spread, which is the best. That being the Seahawks against the 49ers, the Pats against Houston, and the Rams against the Bears. Give me your best winner out of those 3 against the spread. Seahawks, Pats, Rams.
Well, the Seahawks took some money since at least since last I looked yesterday. I thought maybe at 6.5 they were worth a bet at 7.5. I probably couldn't go with that one. The Pats are the ones I didn't realize were 12-5. The Seahawks and Rams right away I would have said they were 12-5 ATS. The Rams game seems like I don't love any of them. Maybe I'm going to get egg in my face since they've been the best teams to bet on, but I have not bet any of them. And in fact, I've bet against New England. I took some Houston money line last night. I saw one place open plus 135. I just thought that was a little high. New England in that game, I mean, they do have the likely, or at least what I think should be MVP and Drake May. They have home field advantage. They have an extra day of rest. So that all matters. But I just kind of feel like Houston's the better team. So I see it circa right now. Must have just taken some New England money. That's up to 3. But that's the only side I feel confident in of those 3 games. And I kind of like Houston, to be honest.
Well, D'Amico said it last night. He said, man, when your defense is scoring, you got something special. It's one thing to have a great defense that holds the Steelers to an all-time low, 175 yards of total offense, the lowest in their playoff history. And, of course, now they've lost 7 straight playoff games, and everyone's talking for Tomlin's head, which is ridiculous. It's another thing when you get not 1 but 2 defensive scores. Kai, out of those 3 teams, Rams, Pats, Seahawks, which one do you like most?
Denver.
You can't pick Denver. By the way, Denver's 1.5 of the Bills. Yeah, give me Give me some
I
of
saw
the Hawks.
it at a pick. I jumped on it at a pick this morning. I've seen some moves, but I jumped on Denver to pick. But in the same situation as last week. I mean, we said if Jacksonville was going to lose, it was because of Josh Allen. If Josh Allen's not in that game, Buffalo loses by 3 touchdowns, in my opinion.
Sure.
He took over and dominated the game. I just don't know that he can do that to Denver's defense. I think their defense is, even though Jacksonville has the number 1 rush defense, they let a lot of things go. And I like Denver better in that situation. If I've got to pick somebody, I'm gonna. Golly, if I can get 3, I would take the Rams over the Bears, but not 3.5. And the Bears just seem to somehow pull out a win all the time. But I can't take 7.5 either with Seattle, not yet. But San Francisco without Kittle, I mean, they are so limited on offense because Kittle and McCaffrey are their top 2 go-to guys, and now they actually have to go to a wide receiver instead, I guess.
Yeah, Kelly's heel issue, obviously, Kittle out for the season. That's a huge loss. And I love the 49ers against the Eagles. That line steamed up to 5.5. Didn't need it. They got the win outright. I love them, obviously, with Kittle. I love their matchup this weekend against the Seahawks. Without him, obviously, backup tight end is going to be a big position, and obviously Brock's going to have to be slat on. But 49ers, I still got them going to a Super Bowl. What's your thoughts on that? And again, you're getting the 7 plus the hook. Niners 10-7 against the spread case. What are your thoughts on the 49ers? I just think they're getting. I know they're not particularly healthy right now, but if McCaffrey can stay healthy, he's just a one-man wrecking crew, man. He's like Josh Allen to the Bills, McCaffrey to the 49ers. If he's out, they're done. If he's in, they've got a shot to go all the way.
Yeah, I made it like a touch over 7. There's such a big jump from 7 to 7.5 in the NFL that I couldn't quite get to 7.5, but a little over 7. And it was to the point where I was very tempted when they opened 6.5. I mean, I think that was probably the right side. I mean, clearly now it's at 7.5. I didn't end up betting it. I don't know. I'm not in a rush to lay 7.5. The divisional opponent, who the 49ers coaching staff I think so highly of. I know there's a lot of whispers and murmurs that Fred Warner could be back defensively for the 49ers. Right now. I mean, Kittle certainly hurts. All these offensive guys hurts, but I really think it's defense where they have been just totally ravaged this year. And they lost all their good defensive guys, and they're kind of holding on by a thread. I think Salah's done a great job as a coordinator. I don't think he's a very good head coach. I know he's kind of in the cycle getting some head coaching interviews. I would not want him to be my head coach, but I think he's a really good DC. I think you look at all they've lost, all their best players that to do what they're doing still pretty impressive. But I mean, it's a bottom 10, bottom 12 defense in the league, and I think that's a problem against Seattle. I know the hot take that people will be talking about all this week is Sam Darnold can't get it done in big games, although I think he kind of got the monkey off his back a little bit down the stretch here. I mean, these teams just played what was basically a playoff game for the 1 seed in the division, and he wasn't spectacular. He wasn't Josh Allen against the Jaguars, but he was pretty dang good. So I just have a tough time seeing Seattle lose. I have San Francisco futures, which I don't think really have much of a chance. But so I'll be rooting for San Francisco. It seems like they pull playoff upsets all the time, but I don't have much faith that this could be one of them. I think Seattle wins, but 7.5 is just a big number to lay. I didn't have anything on the total in this game either. So this is the one game where I've just bet nothing, and I don't really see a very likely path to me getting on either side or total either.
45.5 on that total. I hate the 49ers because they've knocked my Bengals out of not 1 Super Bowl, but 2, including the catch. And the Bengals were leading in both those games. And obviously the other game they played against the Rams is one of the greatest Super Bowl games that I've seen them lose again. They're 0-3. When you're talking about the 49ers and Seahawks too, you're always talking about defenses. We're just kind of going around the National Football League here as we get ready for the divisional playoffs. Last night, a great stat stretch. D'Amico Ryan's 41, Aaron Rodgers 42. One's holding, obviously, the clipboard, and he's making plays, and he's been like Coach of the Year. And here's Aaron Rodgers, who hasn't decided whether he's going to come back. He's a free agent, has no contract. I don't know if people are going to want him back or not. Was Pittsburgh and Aaron Rodgers look that old because he is, or is Houston's defense that good, or a little bit of both?
I think it's a little bit of both. I think Houston's defense played well, but I mean, good grief, that pick 6, I mean, he threw it right to the guy.
Yeah. The last one, yeah.
I mean, Houston's defense played well, but Aaron Rodgers is old, and last night I felt like he looked worse than Phillip Rivers looked in any of his games this year. I think Aaron Rodgers needs to retire. Unfortunately for him, I think that's probably the end of Mike Tomlin in Pittsburgh as well.
Really?
With some of the things, I really do. Now, I don't think they're going to fire him. I think there's going to be a mutual discussion. And, of course, this is an opinion. It's not based on any facts whatsoever, except for watching some of the teams this year and some of the stupid moves that were made and seeing. But how awesome would that be if maybe Harbaugh ended up at Pittsburgh?
That'd be crazy. I thought having Metcalf back was going to be huge. He was targeted one time in the first quarter, I think once in the second, and then not again to the end of the third quarter. The ball just never got down him. That one play was way down the field. I will say this, Aaron Rodgers, he was hitting his windows. And I don't know how much zip was on the football. I mean, that one over the middle, Frank Booth was right over the middle and it hit him in his hand. He made a huge catch on a third down conversion. The ball was there, but the receivers were so well covered. There was just no room for error at all. So I'm not – he did throw in that last pick. I agree with you. It looked like a right through him, and obviously disguised their coverage there when that cover two and moved over to the right side. But, yeah, with Metcalf, just an absolute no-show. Was really surprised that would be – and I get – this reminds me a lot of Marvin Lewis with the Cincinnati Bengals. Marvin Lewis was with the Cincinnati Bengals for 12 or 13 years. He was always good for a 500 record. He took them to multiple playoff games. They didn't win squat in the playoffs, but Cincinnati fans were happy enough because it sold tickets. They knew they were going to sell out every game, and so they stayed with Marvin Lewis as long as he wanted to stay. And obviously, they needed to shake that thing up. I'm not saying Marvin Lewis is even in the same stratosphere as Tomlin is because he's won a Super Bowl. He's never had a losing season. He's one of only three coaches to ever coach the Pittsburgh Steelers. Think about that. I think the Bengals have been through more coaches in the last 5 years. The three coaches. So I agree with you. There may be this, hey, listen, maybe it's time for us to go our separate ways, but I still think he's one of the best coaches in the National Football League, Case.
Yeah, I understand the frustration of the fans to want to get rid of him, but I feel like it would likely be a case where you don't know what you're losing if it happens. I mean, this team's never bottomed out, never had a losing record. So while I get it, I mean, if I was running the Steelers, would I get rid of him? Absolutely not.
He may want to change. He may want to change of atmosphere. I mean,
it's a tough situation. I don't know. You threw me out of you threw me out of my concentration. I love Marvin Lewis.
I did too.
I think he got look at the resources and what the Bengals, especially at the time, I think he did a good job. And also, I'm a little biased. He was the Raiders' associate head coach last year, and a great dude. For the future on him is really good to talk to and deal with. So, I think Marvin Lewis, I'm putting him down as an underrated head coach.
Marvin Lewis was falling in love with your psychiatrist. Is what it was. The relationship got too tight. It got too good. They loved each other too much. They just couldn't help each other. Obviously, he was African-American, which was huge for the Cincinnati Bengals and what they went through in that town in the early 90s and mid-90s. You want to talk about a town that's got some racial issues. Good God almighty. It's just unbelievable. We got it good down here in Birmingham compared to what Cincinnati looks like on an average day. People driving around with baseball bats in the front seat of their car if you go down Vine Street anytime, Monday through Friday, noon to 3. But yeah, I loved him, but it was one of those situations where, how many times you're going to take a 9-7 record. I mean, I had to go back and look at his record, but it seemed like every year he's 9-7. Sometimes that get you in the playoffs, sometimes it didn't. And then again, when you're looking, when they're screaming fire Tomlin last night, that's disgusting. That is just wrong. I get you going to boo it. Now they're talking about there's a good chance that at least you're talking heads that they're both back. I don't know what that's going to look like if they're both back. They're comfortable with each other, but obviously they're going to need some help offensively speaking because that is excruciating to watch. It is not what Pittsburgh Steelers. Their defense can play. Their defense can play as well as Houston's last night. And they still would have lost that game, and they lost by 24. So
I've seen the reports that they're trying to talk Rodgers back into coming, and I don't know. I feel like this is just kind of the worst place you can be. I mean, I know they're a little bit better, but anywhere in that middle,
he doesn't sell tickets. He doesn't sell tickets. I mean, 3 years ago, I'm in. 3 years ago, I'm in. But now, no.
Yeah, they push off trying to find that next young quarterback that's going to be there for at least a decade. And I know you see a commonality with all these teams that are stuck either bad or in the middle. So I think the Steelers, then maybe that's why you part ways with Tomlin. Maybe that's why the timelines don't match up. But I think really they need to find a young quarterback. They tried with Kenny Pickett, didn't work obviously, but you can't have that get you frustrated and then lose 4 or 5 more years. They need to try someone else.
Do either one of you see a quarterback in this class coming out that would be a good fit in Pittsburgh? Blue collar, steel talent, but also with a head coach. And he's never been a my way or highway kind of guy, but he's a mentor type of guy too. He's not a gunslinger kind of guy, but is there a quarterback that kind of makes a fit, Kai, with the Pittsburgh Steelers that would be coming out in this class, or are you willing to stick through another 9-8 season with the Pittsburgh Steelers?
I mean, I don't know where they're picking, but I don't know who could actually drop to them. With where they're going. What are they? They're in the 20s with their pick, aren't they?
Mm-hmm. They're just good enough to get a. Yeah.
I don't think Ty Simpson's going to get drafted before then, but I also don't think he's going to be super successful with that offensive line. I mean, the problem that they're having, he's not going to get rid of the ball as quickly as Aaron Rodgers did. The only reason why we talked about it, that we thought Pittsburgh might even have a chance in that game, is because of how quickly he gets the ball out. And then Houston was all over them making tackles. I mean, Moore should stay in college just so he doesn't get drafted by the Jets. And so then with the other people coming out, I don't know, maybe they pick up, Pavia or Aguilar, and both of them get broken in half in the first quarter of the first game and, kind of move on.
You mentioned right at the top the Bills and the Broncos. You diverted from my question. You did come back around to it, which you're getting good at this radio thing, man. It takes a little while to figure this out. But you mentioned the fact that you were all over the Broncos. Tell me why.
I just think Buffalo is luck is going to run out. Denver is a very difficult place to play. Denver's been playing better. Bo Nix is playing much better at home. Everything about the way Denver has played this year tells me they win this game. Now, who knows in the National Football League and, where it's, you've seen things come out this week and last week where it's scripted and, the Eagles fans and players talking about it being scripted and all these different things. But everything to me, everything favors Denver, and it's at Denver.
Yeah. No, and I mean, that's always tough place to play. Case, your thoughts on Bills Broncos? What'd you have that line at?
Yeah, I agree with Kai. I bet some Denver at plus money. Only plus 105, so little. I made it Denver minus 1.5, so not really a huge difference. But it's the exact same thing as the Jacksonville game. I hate it that I have to keep betting against Josh Allen, but it's really like the Bills have by far the best player, someone that could just will them to victory alone. But the Broncos kind of have advantages all over the field, and unfortunately, those words were prophetic against the Jaguars. I feel like the Jaguars kind of dominated the game. I still think they outgained them by like 1.5 yards per play. They did basically everything except Josh Allen just was able to put him on his back and get a win there at the end. And then who knows if Trevor Lawrence can't go blow for blow with him. He throws the pick to end the game. So, I mean, it's a little scary now. I trust Bo Nix even less than I do Trevor Lawrence, but I do think he probably hasn't gotten enough credit for. I just think he's gotten so much better as the season has gone on. I know a lot of that's being credited to the whole Broncos coaching staff, not just Sean Payton. I know people are just raving about Davis Webb now. He's getting a bunch of head coaching interviews. That kind of scares me a little bit. All these Broncos staff guys are all out getting coaching interviews, but they had the bye. They probably weren't doing a lot last week anyway. So I don't know. Just at this point of the playoffs, the lines are so tight. There's no slam dunks. But for me, I did play some Denver money line, and I also bet the over in this game. Let me see what's still at.
Look at you going. Look at you going a little over under actually.
Yeah, it's still 46.5. I bet 46.5. I just thought it'd be a little bit higher. Again, I've upticked the Broncos a little bit more for their offense, I think, than most. I think for the most part down the stretch of the season, the offense has looked way better than it did early in the year when they were mainly winning defensively.
And say what you want about, of course, I was married to a gal who was from Nashville, Illinois, which is right across the river from St. Louis. So my father-in-law had tickets to the Rams, and so I'd see Rams games almost every single year. And of course, we hated New Orleans, and so I hated Sean Payton because of that. And I didn't think that was a really good fit when he went out there. I was kind of hoping it'd fall apart. He has really fit in really, really well there. And there was actually a side-by-side comparison of Bo Nix to Drew Brees. From a stature standpoint and how they deliver the football and the way they wind up and throw the football, and is he the next Drew Brees? And my goodness, to be associated with that cat as early in your career as Bo Nix is right now, under the tutelage of Sean Payton would be really impressive. 3-point game, 4-point game, 3-point game, 4-point game. Then we had a 13, then a dud last night, a 24-point game between the Texans and the Steelers. Any other things sticking out to you guys? We've kind of hit everything. A couple of things. I think that the Bears story is still really, really interesting. I thought Green Bay would get them in the wild card round. Obviously, they got through. You can call it luck or whatever. The Bears are just rolling high. Now, of course, they got the Rams, who everyone about 4 or 5 weeks ago, it was the Rams and everyone else. Now the NFC is just an absolute wide open. Any other teams? The Pats have quietly, we mentioned they're 12-5 against the spread. For handicappers like us, and certainly for you, Case, that's not a surprise. But they're just quietly just rolling in, winning games every single week. And here they come in -2.5 against maybe one of the best defenses in the National Football League in Houston.
Yeah, well, this is an interesting game to talk about right now because literally my screen is just lighting up. I don't know if one of the big services released or some, but there's just an avalanche of New England money coming in while we speak. Looks like it's about to get to 3.5. We got 3 minus 20 all over the board. I don't know. Like I said, my first reaction was Houston. It's hard to evaluate New England just because I know this might even sound like a lazy analysis because it's what everyone says, but it's so true. I mean, the Patriots just had a historically weak schedule. It's just that they got every single break. They played like 2 good teams all year, the Bills the 2 times. Obviously, they split with them. I've been on the Patriots a lot. I like the team that not a lot went right for me in wild card weekend, but that was, I think, my top confidence play in my column was the Patriots over the Chargers. Obviously, they completely neutralized them. I just feel like the Texans are a different challenge with the way they're playing right now. I know it's tough to trust their offense. I mean, we talked about Aaron Rodgers having some bad turnovers, but that C.J. Stroud interception last night was pretty ugly too. It's up and down. I don't know. So, 2 games in 6 days, maybe that's concerning. I don't think there'd be any big injury news causing this, but yeah, as we speak, someone just pounding the Patriots. It'll be interesting to see when we reconvene Friday if it's kept up or if we get some Texans buyback, but it certainly seems like the Patriots are the side of the market in the early going.
And we will be back on Friday at 10 o'clock Central. And special thanks, of course, to the Coastal Digital Network. They do wonderful work. Angel, of course, Duncan Dad and the whole crew, they do wonderful work. And we appreciate the opportunity to be on with them. And of course, you can find us on Tony Curry Radio, wherever you get your YouTube. We're on it live right now. And wherever you get any of our things, K4Winners is our Instagram as well as our X handle. So make sure you check us out. We'll get after it, talk some stuff. Want to get into another story that's not particularly handicapping before the end of our show, but I do want you guys to, I don't know if you saw this hockey game between these 8-year-olds that got after it. It was evidently a staged fight, but there was nothing staged about it. If you got just a few seconds while I'm asking a question, whatever, to look up that story, it is insane. It is every kid taking the gloves off and getting after it, and no one stopped the fight. It went on for it seemed like 3 or 4 minutes. And of course, a lot of people are saying this is the best intermission entertainment I've ever seen. One kid got just hammered in the face by another kid, but the video is fantastic. It's really fun. It was on NBC Nightly News. If you get a chance to check that out, I know we get some hockey fans here. You can check that out. All right, coming up Monday night, we know that Miami's 10-2 against the spread. You mentioned it, Kai, going into this thing. You were just flabbergasted by the fact the Steam's pushed this up to 8.5. Indiana right now, 8.5 over Miami. Over under 48.5 is what I have it right now. What's your initial thoughts on the national championship game coming up Monday night in Santa Clara?
Well, I mean, just like I said, I'm kind of irritated. I can't hedge my future on Miami. I don't know that I can lay 8.5 with Indiana, but at the same time, you cannot make mistakes against this Indiana team. I mean, go figure. I mean, I think half the roster is 30 years old. So, they make, they're older than everybody else. But real interesting fact that I saw the other day. When Carson Beck was a freshman in college, Malachi Tony was
Mm-hmm.
11 years old.
Wow.
Now he's a freshman in college, and Carson Beck's 33 and still playing. Miami made so many mistakes and got so many penalties against them, against Ole Miss. And then Ole Miss, they were able to capitalize on some of them, but Indiana seems to make every single play they have to make and the plays they're supposed to make, and they just don't make mistakes. I think they have, one fumble all year. I don't know how many picks Mendoza's thrown, but I saw something, maybe it's more than that, but they've hardly lost any fumbles. They hardly have any turnovers. And we're back into the whole Carson Beck. How is he going to play from behind? How are those things going to go? I don't know, man. I'm glad I've got 6 more days to really think about this before I have to place the way.
Mendoza, 6 picks this year, but 41 touchdowns. His QBR is a 90.2, 3,349 yards. Your initial thoughts, Case, and then we're going to go deeper on this game, but the fact that it moved up that's like a lot of money to move it from that magic number of 7 all the way up to 8.5. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, totally boring, and I can't believe it. I swear this is true. I made the game Indiana minus 8.5 with the total a touch over 48, like 48.25. It's a 48.5 and 8.5. So I really just I have nothing. Not that I mean, it's tough because I'm in the Miami futures camp as well.
That may be where I got it from.
Yeah, I don't really know what to do. I guess I'm just hoping somehow Miami gets up early in the game, but that seems impossible against Indiana, who gets a turnover every time they're on defense to start the game. It usually starts with a 7-0 head start. Teams like Indiana in championship games historically, if you've read my column over the years, or probably even listened to me here, like they're the type of teams that always give me trouble. Because I just really think the market has a tough time, and myself, of pricing these teams that are like truly outliers, truly great teams. And I would have said all year that there wasn't a team like that in college football. But I think with what we've seen the last couple weeks, including the Ohio State game, who I think I've said time and time again, I think talent-wise, Ohio State's bar none. They have the most NFL guys. They have the best roster. So like the last 3 weeks, just Indiana's just hit a higher plane. I think it's tough to price them correctly. So as much as I'm trying to conjure up some confidence and tell myself that Miami has a chance and let's do this to cash a big future, I don't know. Just in my gut, it's hard to see Indiana losing. I don't know. Most of these teams in college football in recent years, all the really good number one teams all year have kind of come through. I mean, starting 2019, LSU, Alabama the next year, Georgia after that. Even I was kind of in the same situation where I had a big future on Washington and a big price against Michigan a couple years ago, and Washington never had a chance in that game. So hopefully something changes and we see an underdog with a little more bite, but it's hard not to be a little discouraged after watching Indiana the last month or so.
Yeah, there's something to be said about that. And again, to see it move that much that early, this feels like it could be a blowout. And I hate that. We are talking about a 1 seed against a 10 seed, which is pretty amazing. Out of the top, everyone says, it's the top 4 teams and everyone else. Well, you got a 10 seed who's playing in the national championship game in Miami. So that should tell you something about how good that team is. But will the luck land out? And again, you're talking about the Heisman Trophy winner. Indiana just doesn't make mistakes, Kai, and you brought that up. The 6 picks over the course of a season is unbelievable. They've got the best turnover ratio. They just, from a penalty standpoint, I think they average 6.3 penalties a ball game, which is incredibly low. They just don't make mistakes, and I think some people are still thinking about that Miami of the 90s with the big chain around their necks, and they're going to screw up early in this game, and it's going to get out of control against this Signetti group that is almost robotic in its way, that it just doesn't screw up. It just doesn't make mistakes.
I think if Indiana gets up, I think they pour it on and they blow them out if they get up.
And
never had problems.
And it just kind of went that way.
Repeat what you said there, Kai, because you froze up a little bit also, real quick.
Yeah, because both of y'all dropped off mine. I don't think that Beck is a good come from behind quarterback. I just don't think so. And like you said, Indiana doesn't make mistakes. This is going to be the 3rd straight game that Indiana has played a team that has over 50 4- and 5 stars on their roster, while Indiana has 8.
That's the one thing that gives me a little bit of hope. Not that it should, but it just, you go through the history of college football. I think I've mentioned this before, but the blue chip ratio, I think On Sports puts out, and it's like 19 of the past 20 champions have had like this level of recruiting success and this talent. Indiana would be, I think, the second team to break the trend. Only in Miami's right there talent wise. So I mean, there's some reasons you could talk yourself into Miami. Ultimately, am I going to do that? I don't know. Like I said, I think the point spread's perfect. I'm going to be writing about this game later in the week, and I'll have to make a pick. I'm going to try to make it separate for my future, so I'll have to think about it then. To be honest, I kind of even forgot that this game was happening. It probably speaks poorly in what it's been since they've been here, but I have never seen I cover the Raiders primarily, as you guys know, but for anyone watching, I've never seen the Raiders fan base since they moved to Las Vegas this excited after they knew they had the number 1 pick. I think every Raiders fan was tuned into that Oregon-Indiana game to get a look at Moore and Mendoza. And I mean, Mendoza's stats obviously don't blow you out of that game, but if you watched, it was just dart after. I mean, Oregon's defensive backs didn't even play poorly. He just put every single ball in the perfect spot. And it's just funny. We're talking about other NFL teams that need young quarterbacks. I think it's now 99% the Raiders are drafting Mendoza, and I still don't know how he'll work out in the pros, but the Raiders fan base right now is just over the moon with this guy.
Couple of interesting, you can call them Tony Curry stupid stats, whatever you want, but I love the stuff. Kyle, I'll let you jump on here. 45, Fernando Mendoza's had 45 red zone touchdowns without a pick this year, which is unbelievable. 47, the number of Indiana players in their 4th year of college or later. 47 guys. 7.3 is the millions of dollars spent on the starting quarterbacks of this game. 7.3. Isn't that amazing? $7.3 million spent on that. Malachi Tony's got 99 receptions this year, so the next one will be obviously his 100th. 27 Indiana players left over from the 2023 roster. This is something a lot of people we will look at. Was not Indiana pretty doggone good last year? Were they pretty decent last year? I mean, this was, and I think everyone kept thinking to myself, they can't do it 2 years in a row because they're in the Big Ten and look at their schedule, blah 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 blah. That's just crazy. The average difference in pounds between Miami's O line and Indiana's D line is 54. And this will be the 9th time that Miami's played for a national championship, and obviously Indiana's far removed from that as well. So just some numbers you may want to know going into the game that could perhaps sway you one way or another when it comes to betting on the game.
I can say this since Kip's not here. It's something that gets on my nerves that he does too, since he brought up last year. Everyone just like trashed Indiana for losing at Notre Dame. Okay, yeah, they were down most of that game and they got eliminated in the playoffs. They played Notre Dame closer than Georgia did the next week at a neutral site. I mean, I think that Indiana took way too much crap for last year. I know Kip would be just turning red and making all the excuses for, there was that shooting. Well, Notre Dame had to deal with the shooting too. Indiana, I guess, people are just so used to the traditional powers in college football. It's taken a long time to come around on them. But yeah, Indiana last year still deserves a lot of credit. I also say I was taken aback by that red zone stat too that you posted.
Amazing.
Talked about. I could be wrong though. I do think it was. I think it was the last 2 years. I think I included him at Cal too. So he had 45 touchdowns in the red zone in the last 2 years and no interceptions. But still, pretty incredible. And yeah, just his placement on some of these passes was unbelievable against Oregon.
I still can't believe we're saying Indiana a national championship game. I mean, you'd say that and you go, okay, wow, the basketball program's back. What did Bobby Knight come out of the grave? What's going on? No, we're talking about their football program, and that's amazing. I mean, it really is good for them. And we talked about this earlier too. The fact that we had some different teams in it this year I think it's great. I love the Blue Bloods. I love having the Alabamas and Notre Dames in the mix. I do think it's interesting though, Kai, and I know from a gambling standpoint that if a team beats my team, I either hate them or I'll ride them. Do you find some of the people in your circles wanting to ride Indiana since they knocked off Oregon and Alabama by a combined score of 92-47 or whatever it was, because they made Alabama look like children?
Alabama fans are going to bet against them because they hate them, because they knocked them out and cost them their 947th national championship. But if Indiana or Miami wins, Alabama's going to claim the national championship because the coach built Alabama and
yes.
So yes. Or 19 or whatever.
Nick Saban will have his 8th championship. Yes.
Kirk Cignetti was there for 2 years. Give me a break. And hey, you know what? You want to see a team, and I know they're older and all these things, but Kirk Cignetti, Who's done a better coaching job in a 2-year period ever in the history of football? And I know it's right here and it's recent, so we see it. But thinking back, who's done a better job in a 2-year span of coaching than him? Maybe Osborne in 95, 96 with Nebraska. Maybe with the way they dominated back then. But I don't think so. I mean, you can say whatever you want, and I know it's only 2 years. The guy's won everywhere that he's been. Google him, and he is doing a job. Yes, they got some great transfer kids. Yes, they got older kids. Maybe the older kids listen more, but you've got to buy into what he's selling. And even with the portal that you're seeing and stuff coming now, people are buying what he's selling, and the guy knows what he's doing, and you just can't bet against him.
I've got it. How about a guy named Larry Coker? Since we're talking about Miami, the guy lost one game in his first 2 years at Miami. Remember, no one was talking about Larry Coker, and of course, he gets that national championship in 2001. He goes 12-0. Wins the Rose Bowl. The second year, 12-1, goes to the Fiesta Bowl and loses. And then, of course, his third year, 11-2. So, and I mean, just fell off the face of the earth. I mean, they had all kinds of issues. Then they go to the Atlantic Coast Conference. He goes 9-3, 9-3, 7-6, and was done. Was with the Roadrunners for a little bit, had a 4-6 record with the Roadrunners, and that was it. That's amazing to me to see a guy at Miami lose 3 games in 3 years and ends up finishing his career with the Roadrunners of University of Texas San Antonio.
Well, he had more talent and a better recruiting base.
And
what Cignetti's doing now.
I believe some guys were getting paid back then too. Back in 2001, 2002. I mean, Sapp and all those guys, they were making millions of dollars back then.
That was like a top 3 job back then, I'd say.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm not taking anything away from what he did, but I would take Cignetti. I mean, Indiana would have been fringe top 50 job for saying 2 years ago. It was like,
you just had what you said one guy could do in his first 2 years.
It was a great run. I'll also say this will be unpopular where you guys are, but I think Alabama deserves a little bit of a break after seeing him against Oregon. I mean, I just think Indiana's just been this good. It wasn't all just. I know Kip was on the board of Alabama was just terrible. I don't know. I just think Indiana, the way they played the last 2 weeks, is just such a step above everyone. It's pretty wild. And I guess speaking of Alabama, I guess that's the next big domino to fall, because I saw that the report this morning that Ty Simpson supposedly drew a $6.5 million offer to play quarterback somewhere. I know that the school's not named, but how is it not Miami? Speaking of Miami, everyone else seems like they have their quarterback in place, and there's only a few schools that could pay that much. We talked about maybe he would be the quarterback that might be available, like with a Steelers pick. If he's getting $6.5 million, there's absolutely zero reason to go to the NFL. You're not going to get paid that much unless you're like a top 5 pick.
No, there's no doubt, and we're seeing that. Diego Pavia, I mean, is another reason why he wanted to stay at Vanderbilt. It's like, I don't care about this wonderful degree I'm going to be getting here at Vanderbilt.
How in the world does he get like multiple years and then is suing for another year? And he'll probably get approved for it. But Chambliss and Aguilar and some of these other guys are rejected for a 6th year when he's already gotten a 7th year and is trying for an 8th year.
I don't know.
The Chambliss thing, especially, I feel like Chambliss has a really good case. He's basically only played 2 years. And it's crazy that he's the one that keeps getting denied, where I feel like more sketchy ones just get greenlit.
Yeah, and you're going to see more and more of that. We mentioned the $7.3 million that these 2 quarterbacks are making. I'm going to tell you something, man. The numbers, the money, we were talking to Mark Ingram, who's the athletic director for the UAB Blazers, and he's like, listen, I'm not surprised by the fact that we have 4,000 kids in the transfer portal. He goes, it's crazy, but more than 1 in 4 kids is going to transfer. He said, but the money that is coming out, he goes, where the hell is this money coming from? Because he's being told now for 12 or 13 years, hey, listen, we know you need a new basketball court, but we just don't have the money for you, Mark, And then they're offering these kids from different states $4 and $5 million to play quarterback for their school. It's just incredible.
They don't have the money because they're a part of the Alabama school system, and Alabama and their board of directors, and I know UAB has their board, blah, blah, blah. UAB's never going to get what they need if the board of trustees of Alabama feels like it can help UAB.
Sure, absolutely, and that's exactly why they won't play them in football. And the only time they'll play them is in an NIT game, and that's when they're made to play each other. And it's ridiculous because, you got schools like Ohio State that'll play everybody inside their state. They don't leave the state till sometime mid-February because they want to take care of the Ohio U's, the Bobcats, and the Miami of Ohio teams and this, that, and the other. All right, I got to ask you guys, and I don't know if you saw the video, Wild Night Hershey Bears hockey game this past Saturday night as a team of mostly 8-year-old hockey players ended up fighting each other on the ice during a break during the game. The video captured from multiple angles show what was supposed to be a scrimmage between team members turned to a massive melee during the intermission of the Hershey Bears game. A father attending the Hershey's Bear game with his family the first time recorded one version of the incident capturing children shoving, kicking, and punching each other. The Atlanta Amateur Hockey Association described the event as a staged fight in a statement on its Facebook page, clarifying it did not sanction the intermission play. The Hershey Bears said what occurred did not reflect the values of the sport or the standards we expect when young athletes are on the ice. The Central Penn Panthers, who run the team out of the Regency Ice Rink in Lancaster, are investigating the incident. Ray Ferry, the owner of the Youth Ice Hockey League, said he is investigating what happened on the ice Saturday and has not spoken to all the players. Have you guys seen the video of this? And I just think it's really interesting because when we were doing morning radio, this would be something that would have been a hot button topic because obviously the parents would go, this is crazy, this is terrible. These are not miniature adults, okay? Just because they're 8-year-olds and they see it on television doesn't mean they're going to emulate it on the hockey thing. I don't know whose wonderful idea it was to actually make it look like it was a staged fight. It's a dumb idea because there's nothing staged about it. Did you guys see it at all?
I saw the video. I have no idea on the background. You're educating me on all that. I saw the video when it was going viral and chuckled, but I didn't realize it was a staged fight.
I didn't know either. But does that look staged to you? The kid that got pushed down on the ice, does that look staged? I mean, there was one big kid that was just beating the shit out of everybody.
Yeah, no, the stage never crossed my mind. Although the one thing that I do remember thinking was like, why are they just letting this go so long? I know. I want to be on it immediately, so I don't know. Maybe that
it was better wrestling, man. It was better than if that was staged. We got some WWE kids out there that are going to be fantastic in the ring. I mean, it was because if you're telling an 8-year-old, hey, we're just going to pretend we're going to go out there and beat the shit out of each other, because no one, and that's the weird thing is I don't know what his name was, Puffy or whatever the mascot was. He was just sliding around, just kind of watching it. And everyone was like, why isn't the mascot going over there and helping these kids? And one kid just got plowed. I think he lost a tooth. No, it was funny. It was funny, but at the same time, it made me cringe. I'm thinking to myself, all I could think about was that my 8-year-old son was out there doing that. How would I have to deal with that? Because, we're all like, we don't fight. We talk through our issues. We don't have issues. I realize this is hockey. But, I mean, it'll be really interesting. I'm just telling you, it'll be really interesting if the NHL doesn't take something away from this. I'm not saying they're going to change any rules. I'm not saying, because we know fighting is a big part of it. It's great because in hockey, we come for the fights. If this is Major League Baseball, everyone's getting thrown out, suspended, and people are getting fined. We can't be throwing baseball at each other. And in hockey, you beat the shit out of each other, and it's fantastic. It's part of the sport. So it's just a different thing. Anyway, I thought it was interesting.
Fighting's way down in the NHL, though. I know much to the chagrin of some people and probably happy others. But I mean, it's hard to say it'll ever be completely out of the game. But I think there's a website you can probably Google, maybe just hockey fights or something, that just tracks every single one, and it's just been a steep decline. I think teams are. I think it kind of is getting phased out a little bit, just as teams get smarter and realize it's probably not worth it to take the penalty. But it'll probably never fully go away. But it's definitely a lot less of a part it was. Like when I was growing up, I feel like there was probably a fight at every game. It was probably even crazier. Maybe when you guys first saw hockey, but yeah, it's definitely been on a decline. But yeah,
I have noticed too, and I've been to some Bulls games. They don't fight very much, but you don't ever see it. I don't know what the rules are, but you don't ever see it in college or high school.
Yeah,
ever.
Yeah.
Is there a rule against that or something like that? Because you would think a part of the NHL, which is so important, there was a hockey game and a fight broke out. Bah ha ha. That is so important, and it's part of. I mean, there are times where we take intermissions and 3 guys go to the side and say, "Okay, you got this one, I got this one, I got this one." They come out, and the refs know it's going to happen. They just sit back and watch. They're taking their gloves off. They know the fight's coming, so they just let it go. They work it out until they get too tired and they pull them apart. But I mean, when you're talking about high school or college, you don't ever see that. You're not allowed to do that in high school or college. So it's just interesting. It's an interesting part of the professional game that I think a lot of people really, really love, and I think they should, that just does not translate to anything that's younger than that. So I think
And
that's
it's a
kind of
great
interesting.
segue straight into a full slate of 10 NHL games.
It's exact. See, you're getting this radio thing, man. I love this. You're getting in this radio thing because I wanted to give some extra time to some hockey today because we got the time and some college hoops as well. Go, baby.
Well, and I would love to see what Case thinks about some of these games, and Kip did chime in for us. But Vancouver and Ottawa, 2 games tonight where teams have lost 4 out of 5. I kind of like the over. I don't think either one of their goalies are playing worth a crap. You got Montreal and Washington. Montreal's on a back-to-back. Tampa Bay Pitt. Tampa Bay's on a back-to-back. Kip is all over Carolina tonight against St. Louis. I kind of like the over 6 in that game. Edmonton's on a back-to-back. They're playing better against Nashville, or maybe Nashville is. I'm sorry. Toronto's on a back-to-back at Utah. I know that it looked like Kip had said he liked Utah in that one also. And Dallas and Anaheim's lost 5 in a row. Just kind of thinking what our hockey guru has to say about those games.
Well, I feel like I'm kind of letting everyone down. I just have not been keeping up very well. I haven't been betting as much. I've just my job at the Sun. A lot of times the betting goes hand in hand, but I've just had a lot going on between. So we talked about the Raiders last week. I had an interview just all day yesterday with someone pretty notable. So I just haven't had my nose to the grindstone, so to speak. But just this is the first time I've looked at the games. I haven't priced them. I haven't made any bets today, but just going off the cuff with some of what Kai said, Edmonton's still kind of banged up. I couldn't back them on a back-to-back. I'm sure they're probably starting Connor Ingram. The Predators have been playing better. Of the ones he listed off right away, I mean, if I priced it, I wonder if I might have been on Nashville there. Although I'd be interested. I don't really love. They made this big trade for Tristan Jarry, and now he got hurt right away. Now they got Pickard and Connor Ingram. Neither of them are really that good, so it might even be. Doesn't matter who's starting in net. My first reaction would be Nashville there. I'd probably agree with Kip on Carolina. The Blues are really bad. I think this might be like their 3rd game in 4 days too. I think they played twice this weekend. That's a big price, but it'd have to be Carolina. Speaking of weird controversies, I won't say what it is, but if you want to go down a rabbit hole, the Senators were like flying. It looked like they were like a real force in the East, and now they've just totally fallen off, as Kai said. And there's some rumors swirling of of weird things going on there. If you want to look into that. That being said, I think the Canucks are like the worst team in the NHL after trading Quinn Hughes, but I'd be looking for spots to bet against the Canucks when it's affordable. But the Senators right now, I mean, at more than 2. The Senators will probably win, but with all the rumors and whatever's going on in Ottawa, I don't think you could be on that one either. Utah hosting Toronto. I think you said Kip like Utah. I would have to agree there. Toronto beat Colorado last night, who Colorado like historically dominant. Been great. These teams, it's really tough to go Colorado to Utah to Vegas. Those 3, like whenever teams have back-to-back there, their performance has traditionally just plummeted. Probably something to do with the elevation, the home ice advantages there. And Utah's been really good too. So at first glance, the Utah price seems a little bit short. So I don't know. Of the games Kai listed, I guess Utah, Nashville, and Carolina. If I would have priced them, I think I might have been on those ones.
All right, and I'm pulling up your Senator stuff, which is interesting. I'm so used to reading free stuff that I have got like 17 subscriptions to pay for things just because of one article. I'm thinking, $17 for one article is not bad, particularly when I want to read it. And good for them, but I'm not hitting a paywall. But what exactly are you talking about with the Ottawa Senators? Because I know people are going to ask.
So just a rumor. I don't know if it's true at all. And the Senators put out a statement that didn't seem all that official, but their goalie, Linus Ullmark, who won the Vezina as the best goalie a couple of years ago at Boston, just all of a sudden was mysteriously gone for the team. And someone had posted on Twitter, I think a day or two before, that he had his wife caught him cheating on the road or something. And then he outed a bunch of teammates. And now there's like turmoil, and like wives are leaving players, and relationships are being ended, and all the players hate each other. I have no idea if this is true. Again, it's a rumor, but it came out right when they started losing, and they've just kept losing ever since then. And it got so big to so many people, I think, you know how web sleuths are. They connected the dots and thought there was something to it, that the Senators actually put out a statement and said, this is not true. That's disgusting. Linus is out for personal reasons. Now you've got players talking about it. So maybe it's not that, but something's going on there, because they've fallen off so bad, and like you typically don't see. So I don't know what's going on, but there's something weird happening in Ottawa.
Dating a girl named Mel back in 1992, 93, whatever. and we had gotten into a fight the night before, and I knew where she lived. She was living with a friend of hers. I thought I'm going to go over there and I'm going to bring her some flowers and take her some breakfast on my way into work. I was doing some morning radio, and I get over there, and as I pull up to 6:15 in the morning, I see one of the Birmingham Bulls hockey players leaving her apartment at 6:15 in the morning with his shoes in his hands, and I'm like, how interesting. And to this day, she would say that was her roommate, but I know for a fact her roommate wasn't even in town on that particular thing. So I have nothing against hockey players. I will tell you this. I heard some stories. And listen, there's cheating in everything. I mean, police officers cheat, disc jockeys cheat, handicappers cheat, everyone cheats, priests cheat. And he used to tell me these stories, and I'm not going to say who specifically, but it was more than one guy. When he used to play for the Green Bay Packers, there were guys who had different women in every single city they played in. And they would kiss their wife goodbye, hop on the plane, and the minute the thing would land, would kiss their girlfriend hello. And he said it, and the guys would get the schedules ahead of time, obviously, to see where they're playing. And some guys would get really upset because they go, damn it, we're not playing in Green Bay this year, man. I wanted to go back and see Lucy. What am I going to do? How am I going to go see Lucy if we're not playing in Green Bay this year? So that they knew they had gals that would play inside the division because they knew they were going to play their division games. And then, of course, you're talking about, and the big thing was when the girls came, they weren't allowed to go to the games because a lot of these guys brought their wives with them. And it's disgusting as sick, so that does not surprise me. But I mean, that's just the way it is. It's just the way it is. So I hear these stories, I go, man, that is crazy. But there's some guys that's the way they work and that's the way they go. So that's what they do. There was something else I wanted to ask you, and I cannot remember what it was because we just got followed up on some stuff. But we're going to have another show coming up on Friday at 10 o'clock Central, and I'm looking forward to this because it'll be 3 days removed from, of course, the Monday night championship game. Look into your crystal ball right now, 8.5, 48.5 case. Where is the number when I talk to you Friday morning at 10 o'clock on the Coastal Sports Network and on Tony Curry Radio? Where's the number at in the national championship game?
I'm going to be optimistic just because Miami's kind of taken money in all their first three games closer to kickoff. Now, Friday's not really that close to kickoff Monday, but I do think limits will be raising. I think it's more likely this gets back closer to 7 than 10. I mean, 7 and 10 are the big key numbers now. I don't think it'll get back to 7, but I have a sneaking suspicion maybe it closes more like 7.5 instead of 9.5. So I'll say we get a little Miami money at some point here.
All right, info at TonyCurryRadio.net, info at TonyCurryRadio.net. We take your email questions. You can text. Of course, you can do that here through the Instagram as well as the YouTube, the X thing that got going on here with the Coastal. And, of course, also with I can go to our YouTube channel and actually look at some of the things people are writing as well. But Randy in Cincinnati wants to know, please ask Case, where exactly does he make his money? Does he make it with the Las Vegas Sun? Does he make it gambling or a little bit of both?
Definitely a little bit of both. I mean, I am a full-time sports. I mean, I'm our whole sports staff now, columnist, writer, covers a lot of gambling, and that it's been my job. I moved here in 2009. I've been doing it for 17 years. So,
Wow.
full-time job and just bet on the side for many years. And then honestly, it was kind of COVID when I had a lot more time. I always was I think decent at it. I mean, at worst, there were years where I'd break even, but most of the time I was a small winner. And then at COVID, I just, we had more time on our hands. And when sports started coming back and I had nowhere to go, I just started betting more seriously and I did really well. I mean, there's been some years where I've made, not last 2025 kind of ended poorly, but 2024 might have made more money betting than my full-time job. So just kind of over the years being immersed in it from first my professional standpoint, the Sun from covering betting. Now it's kind of feels like sometimes I have two full-time jobs because it is a lot, but definitely split. But it's nice to, some people say, oh, why haven't you taken the full move and just bet full-time? I think, I mean, I'm human. I don't love dealing with the swings, and I do love sports and still being able to be involved. It's nice having the security and a health insurance through my full-time job and everything. So I don't think full-time betting is ever going to be a route I go to. It's also just hard keeping accounts and stuff. But definitely too. It kind of feels like I have 2 jobs at this point.
I wanted to ask you too, and Kai, please step in on this. Kalshi, Kalshi. I'm sure you've heard this, although there's also Poly Market, not to mention several others, where you can actually gamble and bet on sports, culture, and more. I just went to Kalshi just because it was the last thing I saw. What will Ron DeSantis say during his State of the Union address? And then you could either talk about Trump or talk about the ice of the border, and you can vote on yes or no. Next U.S. presidential election winner, pro football championship between Seattle and the Rams, Fed decision in January, maintain the rate or cut, pro basketball championship, S&P close price at the end of 2026, highest temperature in New York City today. You can gamble on that. Stanley Cup champion. What will Noah Wiley say during his Jimmy Kimmel live visit? Will he mention HBO or healthcare first? I mean, there's some crazy stuff on here. Do you have any thoughts on that? I mean, you can gamble on anything. We used to talk about a bird and a wire. Hell, I'll take the left one. It's going to fly away first. But this is kind of crazy because the reason I bring this up is someone just made a ton of money. I want to say it was like $340,000 on a bet that was something that happened in our politics. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I don't, but I mean, there's crazy stories basically every day. You can look at the leaderboards and see. That's the good thing. It's all. I think you can hide your accounts. You can't see exactly who it is, but you can see exactly like the biggest wins of the day, the leaderboards. And yeah, I think I haven't really towed into what we call kind of a catch-all term in the betting industry for Kalshi and all this. What they want to be called are prediction markets. I mean, it's still betting at the end of the day, but I certainly think this is where things are heading. I'm a little behind the curve that I haven't towed into it a little bit. I just. The way I do this, and I took poker super seriously before I was into sports betting. I want to be like so studied and know everything and feel like I have an edge before I jump into something like that. I just think there's right now the prediction markets are kind of being dominated by these sharks, where I feel like I'd be kind of up against it. But I think long term, this is probably where betting is headed. More of this like peer to peer making trades. It's not something I've towed into yet, but I do know some of the best sports bettors I know now. That's a bigger part of their pie, definitely these prediction markets and Kalshi. And despite having all these crazy things everyone talks about, I do think the majority of all their businesses right now is sports. I mean, people just getting on there. I've seen numbers after a lot of the playoff games. I think after the first playoff games, there might have been like almost $5 million traded on the Rams Panthers games. It's just wild. So I'm certainly not an expert on them, but I think it'd be wise to start. I'm not following my own advice, but I think it'd be wise to get in now because
I think it is really surprising by the amount of money, because I forget what it was. It was someone was going to win some political office or something, and it was an $80,000 bet they took, and they won $340,000. And I was like, wow, what? Because I mean, normally I realize that's what prop bets are all about. You can bet whatever you want, the coin toss, the whole 9 yards, but there's always a cap on that stuff to keep it so people can't actually infringe or change the outcomes of a particular bet because they can't buy players. But this seems like one of those things where if you get in early and you start doing your homework a little bit, you can find your edge on it, which would be really, really interesting, because there are some things on here, how French whale made over $80 million in poly market betting on Trump's 2024 election. I mean, there's different ways you can do this. So I guess if you got to play what you got, baby. But yeah, if you want to gamble on it, there's also a website out there that is going to be expressly just for the transfer portal. And I know the NCAA is hating this. They're obviously working. They have no power. They have no teeth. But there's going to be a betting site that just is going to be working with transfer portals. Who's going to transfer, where they're going to go, odds of that happening, how long they're going to play, how many times they're going to transfer. So it's coming to a better near you. So keep that in mind. All right, let's get after it. Kai, do you want to say something?
Yeah, I'm just going to say, everybody hop on the website, look at the Facebook page and Instagram. We've got 10 top 25 college basketball matchups. We've got probably 15 plays we could have in college basketball, 3 or 4 in NHL. And in the NBA, if you're looking for a special prop bet, keep in mind LeBron James' best games are against teams under 500. Half the time he doesn't play against the teams better than 500. So they are playing Atlanta tonight in LA, and Atlanta is 20-21 below 500. So I would take over on all of LeBron's props. I don't know what they are. I just know that this is when he tends to have his best games against sucky teams. when he's 947 years old and everybody's giving him props, and all kinds of good basketball games tonight as well.
I know that one J.J. Redick was not been happy the last couple of games, including the last one where he had all of his numbers down. He's like, we had 30 assist opportunities and only transferred on 11 of them, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, I thought I was watching Andy Kennedy in his bathroom. All right, guys, thank you so much. Appreciate you. We'll catch up again, and Kip will be back on Friday, 10 o'clock Central right here. Special thanks to Angel and the entire crew. We greatly appreciate you, YouTube channels, and Tony Kurre Radio. Thank you, gentlemen. Appreciate you.
This has been a special presentation of Tony Kurre Radio.